Eating good, drinking good, thinking good thoughts, having a good time, sharing good energy with good people in good places, doing good things. So, the title, true story, attempted child. Um, yeah. So, I'm gonna start off with my true story. Started maybe a few months ago. Um, I've been in the court system, attempted to get custody of my daughter. I have custody of both my sons. My daughter happened when I gave my marriage a second chance. Um, so that's why I don't have full custody. Um, because I didn't wasn't planning on using it, but now it's become very important and crucial for where we're at right now with plans for travel and everything like that with our lives. Now, in addition to that, I don't agree with the lifestyle that my exes live. Period. Nonetheless, I do not live with them. I do not associate with them. I do not socialize with them. But understanding energy and people plays a big part in this story. So recently, my daughter, whom I'm in the legal custody battle over, started meeting neighbors maybe about 2 or 3 months ago. Other little children started to pop up. And this is why parents' discernment and being a helicopter parent is, in my opinion, much approved. At this point, I feel like, why wouldn't I? I feel comfortable in that space. That's all I could really sum it up to when I examine my awareness and discernment and desire to remain in tune. So she started meeting the children. I also met one of the mothers first because to me, if your child is over here at my house, I'm going to make sure I communicate that with you. Not that they came in, they wanted to, but I went outside and went down the street because I kind of, I keep an eye on my kids. So I knew where the children were coming from for the most part. And so we arrived at there's about 4 different houses on our blocks that have children. There's a little girl across the street. There's another little girl up the street, and then a little girl and a boy um, up the street, and another little boy up the street. So several houses. One of the moms that I first met, we exchanged info, ran into her at the nail salon. We started to chat it up a good bit, but that's the person that I mentioned in my reading that we were in the car going to run an errand, before going to pick up her kids from her kids' school bus stop. And she had said how she was jealous of me, and that was like, what? So that was that energy. So a few months ago, I kind of moved my daughter away from hanging out with her children just because I can't imagine that the apple falls far from the tree, right? And I feel like overall it was a wise decision because the mom started getting nasty in our conversations. Like just I don't know, just down talking, and I don't do that. In areas where I was trying to help her, but again, she already admitted to my face that she was jealous of me, so I should have seen that coming. Yeah, it is what it is. I was helping her get some things structured for a business. Probably gave her about 2 or 3 really important, crucial things that she needed in pieces, and then she felt like I don't know what she felt like because I don't operate out of anything but human kindness. And I explained that to her, and I feel like she felt the error of her ways. So let's fast forward. I don't deal with her. I made sure my daughter understood because she was being uh, negative to my child, and you have to understand if someone doesn't like you, they won't like your children. Let's just be honest. They won't. It's just the reality of things. And so stop socializing with the 2 kids there. She's still friend with the other little girls and the other little boy that lives up the way. One little girl and her got pretty close. They go up and back and forth to each other's house. Now, the girl across the street has an older sister. They asked to take my baby to the park with them down the street. I don't necessarily like them going to the park that way because I can't see it. I prefer for them to go there, but I felt like since the sister was old enough, she's like 12, 13, and she had a phone, it should be fine. The little girl and her sister show up at my door. I immediately knew something was wrong because who's knocking at my door like one of the kids, and then they kind of not rang again like really instantly, and I knew something was wrong, and they were like, oh, she left her iPad at the park and we didn't want to walk back, and I was like, what? And I took off down the street. Instantly, then my discernment told me they're going after your baby. I knew that, right? I knew that. I knew the goal is to try to, you know, in some instances, taking someone's child, they may never leave that city, right? They'll feel like they have to stay there and wait in that same place, in that same spot, right? That paralyzed energy, right? I don't know how fast I ran, but you probably couldn't have caught me. But I got my baby. She was down there. The father was apologetic. I know the little girl, 12, 13. I feel like it's more so now that I've seen her a little bit more when I go pick up my baby from the bus stop. She's kind of fast, and I think that was her effort. I asked my daughter, I said, were you guys meeting friends? She said, yeah, she was meeting her friends, but they didn't come up there. And so I was like, oh, okay. So her little, fleeing thing didn't show up at the park is basically what happened. And so she decided to go somewhere else. Okay, so I knew instantly then that they were trying to send that energy. And it made me very cautious, but I'm always trying to be as cautious as possible, especially when it comes with my children. Now, let's fast forward to yesterday. My daughter and the little girl from up the street are playing on the front porch, as they often do. This happens all, since they started knowing each other. Sitting on the porch, playing on the iPad and in the driveway. They know not to go on the streets. I'm in my son's room talking to him. His door faces outside, and I see whatchamacallit, a truck, a van kind of pull up. And I see the girls kind of move, and so I go outside, and there's a guy in his truck parked in front of the house, a work truck, a van kind of thingy. And I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, oh, well, my friend lives here. And I'm like, okay. He's like, and I saw the kids outside playing, and I just wanted to come make sure everything goes okay. And I'm like, okay. So I live with my stepfather and my mother. And so while I'm waiting for my son to finish school, we, have an arrangement. So I am sitting there waiting for him to tell me why he's, pulling over in front of the house talking to the girls. And he's like, oh, well, I know, the guy that lives here, and I saw the kids, and I was trying to make sure everything was okay. And I was like, but who's your friend? And he was like, oh, I can't remember his name. And I was just kind of like, you can't remember his name? And then he was like, oh, yeah. And he starts looking through his phone. And then all of a sudden he starts to get out of the truck. Now, I see what's happening. The little girl sees what's happening too, the one from up the street. She's like, why is he getting out of his truck? Get back in your truck, dude. And, I kind of motioned, put them behind me, right? And he's standing there, and I'm like, well, who's your friends? And, because I'm trying to find out if he does know my stepfather or my mother. And he says, oh, he's a handyman, which is what my stepfather does. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, I'm thinking to myself now, like, okay, so if you know that we're the same skin color and you see a little girl, why are you approaching little girls, right? Like, this is just not sitting well in my spirit. I don't care who you know, right? So I go ahead and ask him, like, you don't know the person's name. He goes, oh, we're friends. They come over all the time and talk to us, and we talk about business and this and this and this and this and this, right? And I'm like, okay, but you don't know his name? No. And I said, and you don't know that your friends that come over to your house, you don't know that whether or not they have children, right? He's like, oh, he starts getting all weird. And so I was like, at the end of the day, no matter who you know, who you think you know, you don't approach children, period. That's it, and that's all. And so him getting an attitude starts to walk towards us. The girls and I kind of go back in the house. I call the girl down the street's mom. I let her know what's going on. And turns out they do know my parents. Now, I want to tell you something. I'm not unaware that this man is not a predator. And I'm not unaware that my mother is not involved in this. Okay. This is something that she planned. This is her people. This is who she deals with. These are types of energies and behaviors and stuff that goes on in her life, and this is who she deals with. And she set this up. This is a part of the ritualistic Masonic stuff that they set up to have my daughter kidnapped. He does know them. They vouched for it. Why is your friend? And then at the end of the conversation goes, oh yeah, you must be their daughter. So you don't think that I already know the ploy here? They're doing all this stuff thinking that I don't know everything that they're involved in, everything that they're doing, everything. They're trying to pretend like they're in this peacemaker energy, like they're for the neighborhood, they're for the community, and they're not. They're not. They just tried to have my child abducted. So please be careful with your children. There was a story also on YouTube that was about a lady who had moved into was in an apartment, and some new neighbors moved in the downstairs unit. They saw that they had kids or whatever, came up, invited the kid to the birthday party. She said, okay, the time comes where the birthday party is supposed to take place. The ladies upstairs at her apartment, the downstairs neighbors comes up and goes, oh, the party started. She said, yeah, we could kind of hear the music and everything, whatever. She said, do you want to go ahead and come on down? And she goes, oh, well, I'm not ready yet. And she was like, well, you can let your son come down and play with the other kids since he's all dressed. And she was like, well, I guess so, since he's dressed and it's downstairs. So essentially she does. Basically, it results in the woman going downstairs, knocking on the door. She can hear the music, like the party's still going. No answer. She goes back upstairs. The husband comes home. I don't know why she didn't call the authorities. The husband comes home. He's like, okay, where's our son? She's like, oh, he went downstairs to the party. He's like, okay, let's go get him because we're going to go do some just whatever. They go downstairs. They knock on the door. No one answers. They call the police. The police come, and the little boy is in the apartment, unalived on the bed in the back room. Music blasting. I know what people are up to. My mother came in exclaiming something when I told her, these are your people, why are they? My daughter told me, because later on that evening we were sitting there talking, and I was like, still a little irritated, about what happened today. She goes, yeah. She goes, well, I flipped the man off when he was sitting across the street watching us. So come to find out, this man doesn't live far. He lives a few doors down from one of the little girl that she was playing with. And all of this stuff is true. There's not a single lie in this, okay? Not a single solitary lie. And I don't know what it is that makes people go off the deep end, but I really don't encourage anybody to associate with these people. They will get you in trouble. They will definitely get you in trouble. Now, me, I don't have any control over who my mother is, but I do have control over whether or not I deal with her. Again, like I said, I'm here for my son to finish school. I'm aware of who she is. Again, I've also mentioned in my readings that people sometimes sit and watch other people's so they know how to destroy them. Yeah, I watched so that I could see how they were destroying me. Even somebody says, oh, well, what if this isn't that and da-da-da-da. Even still, that's the type of energy that my mother goes out in cohorts with. These are the neighbor friends that she's making, right? The predators in the neighborhood, the predators in the community. Because now she's like, oh, well, yeah, I went over there at 3:30 this morning banging on his door. What does that resolve? This is the energy that you breathe. This is the type of energy that you are. You have a demonic, spirit, She has to be honest with herself. These people have to be honest with themselves. If that's what you find yourself around, because those kids were having fun, enjoying themselves, making new friends. Now they can't even sit on the front porch because of an evil grandmother. This came up a lot in my reading too. Has a lot to say about you, collective, and me. People who go through these. I haven't been seeing anything but the queens and the kings. Yeah, we know how to deal with trickster energies. I'm not confused to that. I think my grandmother even wrote that in her book about my mother being like a trickster. And it's funny, words, they can be spells. Look, right? People forget all of this stuff, or don't care, or misuse it, which is what my mother and these individuals like the Freemasons, et cetera, are doing. But one thing they better know is they better never try to put a hand on me or my children, ever. It won't fly. I think that's what's messing them up the most, because it's like, oh, okay, if they're watching your every move, then they're thinking that, I'm not near the front. I'm in the house cooking dinner. in that instance, I move different. When you're guided by your discernment and your intuition, you're going to move different. You may not even understand why. So it's almost like their spells work, their reenactions work exactly how they reenact them, but I wasn't there in on it with them. And I'm just not. I'm not going for it. Yeah, I'm not going for it. They're going to meet the 10 of Wands every time. They're going to be burdened every time with the result of what they do. Every time. It is not going to fail. Every time. You can reenact whatever you want to react to. The only part you had missing was me. The only part, the move they couldn't make was mine. The move they couldn't predict was mine. Stay on your toes, collective. These people are everywhere. I know it's mine. I know it's coming towards me. I know everything about all the things people have done behind my back, or so they thought. The only person they really stabbed in the back was themselves. They feel low. I bet you 100% that's what drove this crazy mother of mine to go bang on somebody's door at 3:30 in the morning. That does not change your energy. Look at how you're responding to it even. I was letting them know, hey, do you know this person? You better let me know now, or I'm calling the police on this raggedy friend of yours. And I'm still calling the police on the raggedy friend of theirs. It ain't going to change. You think because my child is safe, I'm not going to make sure that people don't know that there's a potential predator out here? Grandparent ages. Live right there. And my daughter has said something about some guy, because I'm a helicopter parent. And I let them know I got eyes everywhere. It's not even in the back of my head. It's like a helicopter. There's a circle around me and my children that comes from beyond what other people can gather. Somebody was asking a question too, told me to put it in this reading, about the last name of my great-grandmother, who actually, her maiden last name, who actually taught me the fire magic. Her last name was Harvey, if that's of any interest to anyone. I guess it is, because it's been, I haven't even been in the book, so somebody was curious. My great-grandmother, Harvey. Yeah. Whatever is happening, they realize their plans have failed. Whatever plans, like I said, those rituals, yeah, they didn't have me. They didn't have me. I'm not going for it. Nah, ain't no way, no how. I have too much spiritual protection. I'm too powerful. Even if I'm not on guard, I'm on guard. Okay? Even if I'm right in front of you, I'm not. Even if I'm asleep, I'm awake. All of that. Whatever you want to think. Just know it. Okay? Know it with the depth of your heart and your being. Ain't no way. I don't know what else they need to get themselves caught up in any further, but when you bring it to my front door like that, you done put yourself, they gonna follow the trail. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. She done already admitted that it was him, possibly to try to get this person out of going to jail or getting involved with the police about being a predator. And it was so funny because something said, just let her know you're like, oh, like mommy's not like overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Mommy's just trying to focus on other things right now, to stop thinking about like this situation. And my daughter's like, yeah, well, I flipped him off because he was sitting across the street watching us. Maybe in his car, even doing something to himself, because that's how they roll, right? This is the energy that my mother's friend and stepfather are friends with. These are the energies. If you don't want to admit that they're in these groups and they're doing these things, you want to turn your head from your AKA sorority sisters because you don't think that they would. Okay, whatever. You don't know until you know. And I've known what they were up to, who they were involved with, but I can't actually get you caught in the rope until you start to come chase back behind me. That's the trick. They expected that you might not chase after them, but they didn't expect that they would be trying to chase after you. And as a result of that, you and your money. I keep seeing the 10 of Pentacles. Yeah. You and your money to try to stop the betrayal and what they're doing. Stop the information from coming out about that. Yep, they're not in control of you. Like I said, I move different. Different from any way they expect me to. And I never decide in the heat of the moment. Yep, that's what makes me victorious. I don't decide in the heat of the moment. I look and say, okay, what is this going on? I didn't go outside yelling and, jumping on nobody. I said, can I help you? Oh, my friend. Okay. Who's your friend? You can't show. You don't know. No, you don't have nothing, huh? You're shuffling through your phone, but you have no number. You say you know who lives here, and if you do, which I believe you do, because I know what you're up to, but I believe you do, then okay, I'm gonna even be more curious. Like if you're coming over pretending to be a friendly person, why you would be saying you're coming to check on the little girls and make sure that nothing's going on over here at the house. It's two little black girls, and you know your friend is a black person, right? You saw him when he was at your house hanging out, and they confirmed. You see what I'm saying? I'm just over here shuffling. So nobody's confused about what's happening. If they're part of the collective and they've been moving different, they're gonna keep moving different. There'll never be an opportunity for people to continue to do this. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. They've learned too much. They've learned too much. Yeah. And again, this is just a great testament to me too, that like all of my inclination about remaining in my helicopter mom energy is appropriate, right? I was, I don't know. I just still couldn't. Yeah, I go and drop her off and pick her up every day at the bus stop. Oh, that's also part. I knew something was wrong in the energy because that neighbor down the street that I don't deal with no more. Well, she'd been, I guess, timing what time I go to walk to the baby bus stop, my baby bus stop. And so I'm walking and she drives up on me and yells out the window, "Hey, Miss Mary Mac." Not that I care, but could you find anything else to do than sit and stalk me? It doesn't make any sense. And then there's other things that I see too. Like I go for a walk sometimes in the morning, sometimes on Saturday mornings I go get the kids donuts, sometimes I go get me coffee, whatever. So I'll walk, take a good little mile or two walk. There's a guy parked in the no parking zone on the street. Like it's like you just take off the main street and then you're in a residential and it's no parking because that's the entryway to the residential neighborhood. And he's just parked there like he's supposed to be there. He's looking at me like I'm not supposed to be walking. And I'm just kind of like, you're not supposed to be parked here. And you're mad at me because I'm staring down your car because I'm like, okay, I see a person in it. Is it like, is he okay? It's a flat tire. I'm looking at the car and he just staring me down. And I'm like, did you realize you're in a no parking zone looking hella suspicious? Oh, you didn't see yourself? Okay. It's not for you to see. It's for the collective to see. So they know where to put their protection. Yep. This person, that was nothing but some more disagreeable, competitive energy trying to give me a hassle on my morning walk. You see what I'm saying? And they think that I don't think they couldn't have paid somebody that don't have a job and ain't got nothing to do $100 or whatever they paying people. It's weird. It's such weird energy. You paying the neighbor to come abduct my child. It's just, they wasn't expecting me to dance out of that scenario, but I did because I protect what's mine. All of it. It's, oh, you didn't protect this. Did I know about it? Did I know that they were stealing from me? Typically, people aren't watching you while you're stealing from them. I get there's this energy of that. And I don't feel like I've lost anything. I feel like I've gained everything because I now know the right energy to put into the places where those things used to be. It's not that hard to understand it. Yeah, these are those energies. Ghosts of Christmas past type stuff. I can't believe that someone would resort that low. I don't know if that was like a whole ploy to take my daughter and then go bring her to her dad. You know what I mean? To try to have him say, oh, well, I already got full custody. Like just some weird stuff, I don't know. I don't know what they were up to, or just take my baby so that they could torture me. I don't know, or torture my baby or sell her. Who knows what people be trying to do? I know they wasn't up to anything good. And I know that her response was not good. So that means also she was up to no good. Ain't nobody stupid. I had my discernment card come out at the beginning. I had discernment a few weeks ago about this. They also don't know that you know everything about everything that they're going to send. They're sending everything, just by the way. They've done all the rituals. They made the time to go do all of that. What grandparent at 61, 62 years old is coming home at 2:30 in the morning? Ponder on that one for a minute. Where you think they was? To 2:30, 3:30 in the morning, because that's when you get home. I'm asleep. I'm minding my business. Protected. Okay? I ain't worried about a thing. You up at 3:30 in the morning because you just got home. Where do you go in this city? I want y'all to ponder on that. The behavior. They act like that nobody sees that. Like, like they got you dancing around something. No, y'all dancing around me because I've been on you. I've been on you. Ain't nothing to dance around. Not a thing. Ain't a way to play me. Not a single one. Gotta be out of your mind. And yes, I have every right to be frustrated and I want to call it disgruntled. Because I guess to them, maybe it served a purpose. I guess to them, maybe the goal was to, uh, I don't know. I think the ultimate goal was to get my baby. Or to get me to come outside and go off and, act a fool and, be seen by the neighbor as exactly who they've been telling them I am. But I'm like, you have no business over here watching little girls. And my daughter admitting that she flipped you off because they were sitting there in the driveway being watched by you. I talked to my children. I'm so glad I told her that. I told her it's okay to admit where you're wrong if you are admitting something else that's wrong. Like, it's okay to feel good, about becoming clean and being honest. And that's why my daughter told me she flipped that man off, because he was sitting there watching them. She knows energy. She's a Virgo. That baby knows so much energy. She will tell me when somebody lied to me. Just the other day, she was like, oh, he was lying. I was like, he was lying. She was talking about my stepfather because he told me they weren't coming back home. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I asked him if he could grab some ice. And he was like, oh, we're not coming back tonight. And I was like, oh, okay. And so my daughter had asked about us, and I was like, well, I'll see if he can grab it on his way back tomorrow. They said they weren't coming back. And she's like, oh, okay. She was like, he was lying. And I was like, lying about what? She was like, he was telling you that so that you would think that. They don't realize that, like, if I'm intuitive, you don't think that my daughter or my son or somebody might be too? Like, you don't think that, if I was inept to change and do all the healing work and get the gifts and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that I wouldn't be able to impart some, or that my children wouldn't just naturally be born with them and be able to maintain them and use them well. Because I am. Yeah, my child's not in no trickster energy. Yeah, it's if you go doing that with your child, you can't expect a rebirth. That's, I hope people wake up and realize that. I really do. I hope people wake up and realize that these people are going to get caught every move y'all make. What did Kat say? All the big deviants? Yeah, you're not going to fly. You're not going to fly. And it was wild because I'm walking the little girl home, right, as I normally do, to her mother's house after I called her and let her know what happened. And I'm sitting there and I look down the street. And that's when I see this fool that was just on my front yard coming over to somebody else's house, talking about, not coming up, pulling into his driveway and going into his house. And I was like, he literally been sitting over there watching for a while too. He knew the target. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, maybe he got confused because he's white. Maybe he got confused because he didn't know which little black girl he was supposed to take in that instance. I feel like that was what, delayed it. Had him sitting there thinking for a minute, like, okay, now it's two little girls. It's not just the daughter's daughter out there. Because he told me, I said, you don't know if this person has family. And then later, when I was like, you need to go somewhere and stop, watching little girls. And he goes, oh, you must be their daughter. So now you know that they have family. It was exactly as it should have been, basically. Yep. And then them confirming that they were connected to this person. Like I said, it all played out just as it was supposed to. Maybe this is a part of them having to face and accept that they've been caught, but you never know, you never know. Because it's really a matter of this person doesn't have discipline. If my mother doesn't have the discipline to stop trying to stir, stop trying to put me in some, I don't know what she doing. But you tell me what a 61, 62-year-old is out there doing at 3:30 in the morning, other than going and yelling and banging on their neighbor's door now, who they probably sent down there, and they just mad because they didn't do it right. Maybe this is them. Maybe these people are going to accept eternal change. Either way it go, I'm gonna still be a helicopter. I ain't never let my guard down, and I ain't never gonna come out of flight. Miss Mary Mack. I looked up the meaning of that too. I did. But don't come saying something to me. I'm gonna unblock you and tell you about yourself. Maybe that's something they don't like too. It's the level of confidence that you have or I have in knowing what they're up to. Well, you're making it plain and simple. And you teaching me exactly how to play you. That's why I'm sitting here watching you. While I'm having my transformation, I'm watching everybody to play them in their own situations so that everything that they do, all them little sour jars, whatever they do, and all of that sour bitterness within themselves can be transformed and they can see who they really are. By hook or by crook. I guess we call it crook because we played them at their own game. Lure them in, just like they were trying to lure us in. Well, I'm luring you into your healing. Yep. One day at a time. Until I'm gone. And again, that's the part of the problem too. Because they won't have access to that healing. Yeah, it's an inside job. I'm here to give you a glimpse of what it looks like when you do it. I'm not here to show you how. Like I said, that's what they've been saying the whole time. I'm not a real reader. I'm not this. Block or pay. Da 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 da. Yeah. Flexibility, discipline, reason. Yeah. Because I don't care. I'm not attached to none of the stuff they're attached to. Not the thought, not the emotion, not the guesswork, no, I'm not attached to none of that. I'm attached to this though. And assuredly, like that man trying to abduct my daughter yesterday, take a step back. Okay. Accept that I am protected. And be thankful. Okay. About your effortlessness, on the fact that you don't make a move in my direction. Or the collective's direction. Get your priorities straight. Devote yourself to something else. Release because it's time for justice. Okay? In everywhere. Okay? Like I said, higher meaning. Relief for all is what I'm seeing here. Yeah. So, get it together. Go look. I don't know if this is hurting somebody's self-esteem, but it should. It should. Especially if their friends or whatever are watching my page and, looking at it. Yeah, they definitely don't want this message to be heard, this message to be seen. You best believe it. I might leave it up a little bit longer too. Just to make sure. I might go back again and do a reading with my face so I get more views and tell the same story because it's true and I can tell it over and over again. Anywho, that was my true story. I'll catch you on the next one. Later.